Today we are going to discuss a new lab with respect to the vPC in the NDFC. My name is Malav Sharma and I'm the Senior Data Center Instructor at Sharma Global Tech. So now let's, without wasting any time, focus on what exactly that we are going to see today. So within the NDFC, you have a fabric which is called as Enhanced Classic LAN. So we are going to make the use of that fabric to do a lab called as vPC. So let's deep dive, and it's a very simple lab and it's very effective with respect to the commands. So as you can see that I have logged in into the NDFC and right now I am into the managed and within the fabrics. Okay. Over here you are going to see multiple fabrics that are being there, and we are going to create a new fabric and we are going to enroll our switches within that. So first thing, I'll go to the actions and I'll create the fabric. Okay. Now over here, this is the version which I'm using is 4.1. Okay, I'm using the latest version 4.1 of your Nexus dashboard. Now let's create a LAN fabric. Okay, click on next, and over here you are going to find multiple options. What options are there? The first one, if you can see, that is VXLAN. VXLAN means when you want to deploy a VXLAN, so accordingly you are going to make a fabric. The next one is your classic LAN, where your 2-tier or a 3-tier traditional architecture network is going to get designed, where our VPC will also come. So now let's create a classic LAN deployment. Okay, I'll click on next. Then it is asking me that what is the fabric name that I want to give. So the fabric name that we can give is, let's suppose, VPC fabric. Okay. For example, we'll give the location as Bangalore. Now it is asking what is the location that you want to put. See, there are multiple locations, and before this version or prior to 4.1, we were not getting any of these particular options. But now the product has been enhanced, so we are getting the location also. And within that, actually we can choose the location as, let's say if I search Bangalore or I'll search for Karnataka. I'm not getting any options. I'll select India only. Okay. And I'll select this Indore, India. No problem with the city. BGP ASN, you want to give any kind of autonomous system number or not, it's completely dependent upon your thing. Now, we'll do what? We'll give a BGP ASN, okay, instead without having any problems. And then we are going to click on next. Again, after that, you can see a new LAN fabric has been created. The classic LAN, enhanced classic LAN is the fabric type, and these are the details that you have given. Now, after submitting it or after saving it, time to little bit edit the fabric, and at the same time, we are also going to enroll the switches within that. So now I'll go to fabric details, and over here, if you can see, there is a section of inventory that we are having. Now, first of all, let's add the switches, and by the time that the switches are getting added, we'll do the configuration. Okay. So what we'll do, we'll add the switches, actions, and I'll click on discovery, or rather than that, you go to actions above at the top right corner and add the switches. Now, let's add the switches, and what is the seed IP? Sorry, but I also don't remember that. So let's go and take the access to the devices. So you can see that I have two devices, which is your leaf 12 and leaf 13 over here. I'll just make it a little bit bigger, and let me log in into the devices once, so that I can get the IP address. Show IP interface brief. I don't have. Show run interface management 0. You can see there is an IP which is being given as 150.1.7.92. Okay, this is the IP, and probably the other one is having the IP as 93 that I know from the topology. So what I'll do, 150.1.7.93 to 94, I'll give a range. Okay, I'll give the username and the password which I used in order to log in to the device itself, to the switch itself. Cisco @123, and this preserve config option, I'm going to remove that option because this is a newer deployment that I'm doing. Over here between the two leaf switches, let me show you the topology as well. So this is the topology that we are going to work on, and these two devices are the one where I'm going to push the configuration for the VPC. Okay, so I'm doing a greenfield deployment. I'll remove all the configuration, and for that, without reloading the switch, it is going to remove all the commands from the device itself. That is what we want, because we are not doing any kind of brownfield or an older deployment or a modification. Okay, and Let me just discover the switches and I'll confirm that. Okay. Just wait for a few seconds and the switches will come up, and then we are going to enroll those switches. Enrolling will take around couple of minutes, 2 to 3 minutes to 5 minutes, depending upon the fabric that you are having and the resources that you have given. Okay. For you can say that physical devices, the speed is little more high. You are getting the results as soon as possible. The discovery, the enrollment, and the deployment will be smooth and will be more faster. Little bit there is a lag in the speed when it comes to the virtual deployment. Always remember that. So let's wait for the switches to come. Now you can see that the switches has came. DC1, leaf 12 and leaf 13. These are the two switches which have been coming, and you can see the status also. The status is coming as manageable. That means we can manage these particular devices through the NDFC, and I'm going to do what? Select both the devices and I'll add the switches. Okay. Now, meanwhile, the switches are getting added. We can actually cross that and we can again go back to our topology. You can see that anomaly level. Right now, the configuration status is not available and still the devices are in the discovering mode. So when the devices are discovering, let's explore the topology, the fabric settings itself, and we'll do the fabric management. And over here, we are going to change certain settings what I want. Okay. So first of all, any first job redundancy protocol that you want, like your HSRP, VRRP version 3, if you are not doing that, we'll go to none. Okay. Then spanning tree, nothing is being required to change. Spanning tree VLAN range has been given. Spanning tree protocol, root bridge protocol has been given. Root bridge priority has been given over here, and we'll keep the same. Going on to the vPC, auto recovery time, best practices, delay restore time for the access, everything is being given already as a best practice. You don't have to do anything, just you can skip this part. Peer link port channel ID, let's suppose we'll give it 350. Okay, the port channel ID that I created for the peer link, that ID will be 350. I don't want any IPv6 synchronization, so I'll just uncheck that box. Domain ID range is good from 1 to 1000, and that's all. Going on to the protocols, nothing that we want over here. Going on to the security, we can skip that part. Nothing we require with respect to the cyber suit, and these are the already created template which NDFC is giving to you. Okay, once being done, you can see that layer 2 host MTU is going to be, so whenever your downstream device is connected for that particular interface, it is going to have the MTU size of 9215 that you are having, layer 2 host MTU, right? And then unshut the host interfaces by default. One important check over here that we have to do is nothing but we'll come down to check that. Okay, I think it is in the resources tab. So we are going to go into the resources. NX API, create route map. Now see, add the switches without the reload. Within your advanced tab, add the switches without the reload. This is nothing but it is going to perform a greenfield deployment, and without the reload, it will help you for the switches to get formatted while into the discovery. And I'm going to enable that particular thing and click on save. Done. Okay. And now you can see that already the devices are there. Devices are showing as unreachable. What I'll do is I'll select the switches and I'll try to do the rediscovery of the switches, just because we have enabled that option. So it is now going to rediscover again and it's going to remove the configuration. So the best practice is whenever that you create a fabric, first you edit the fabric once your configuration is being done, and then you move ahead with respect to the enrollment of the switches. Okay. So now, as you can see that our both of the switches are completely discovered. Discovered status is coming as OK. Configuration status is not available because it is not yet synced. We have not done the deployment part, but fabric addition has been done. Switches addition has been done. Both has been done completely. So first of all, always remember that first edit the fabric after the creation, and second, then you enroll the switches, because other than switches will go under a reload after that if you do the addition later on. Okay, so this will be the first priority. And now Before the deployment, what we are going to do is we are going to select both the switches, and I'll go into set role, and in the set role parameter we can see that we have the access and the aggregation. Right now both of the devices are in the access mode. If you can see over here, these devices are into the access, but we have to change it into the aggregation for the VPC. Okay, so I'll just select the aggregation and done. Now what it is saying, that please perform the recalculation and the deployment in the fabric to complete this change prior to the deploy. Okay, I'll click on OK. All good, everything is being done, and now it is time to do the deployment. Nothing, but before that, one more thing. I'll select one of the switch that I'm having. So your VPC is being created between the two switches, right? We are going to select one of the switch and we are going to add it into a VPC pair with the another switch. We don't have to select the interfaces, whatever are being connected for the peer link connectivity, that is completely different. Okay, we don't have to do that in NDFC. Yeah, but with the topology, if any downstream device is connected, yes, then we have to define the member ports which are there. Okay, so I'll select this switch. I'll again go into the actions, and over here you can see that there is an option called as VPC pairing. I'm going to select that VPC pairing, and it is giving me the another switch that I want to form the paired up, which is leaf 13. I'm going to select that and then click on save. Done, guys. Configuration is being done. You can see that configuration sync status is coming as pending. It is time to do what? Recalculate and deploy. So in the actions, you'll find the third option, recalculate and deploy. And now let the devices recalculate all the configuration that needs to be deployed within the switches. Okay. So the NDFCs, you can see that generating the aggregation configuration, generating the VPC configuration, it will just recalculate everything and then it will move forward with the deployment. Okay, so 40% is being done. And you can see that 60% and the devices are ready for the deployment. And next, you can see that what will be the pending configuration. So if you can see, there is a column called as pending config. It is going to tell you that how much amount or what are the total number of commands that are going to get executed in both the switches. Okay, so we are going to see the pending configuration that will tell us exactly how NDFC is pushing all of the config for the deployment of the VPC. And you can see that 483 lines of code that has to be executed. If I just click on that, it is going to show me the total configuration, pending configuration that needs to be done. Okay, which you can see that VPC domain 1, IPR, synchronize, peer gateway, peer switch, delay, restore, all the commands are being coming. Your interface port channel 350, which is nothing but your peer link configuration, is also being coming. Description has been given, no short VPC peer link command, and you can see other configurations are also there. So that is what that you get out of the Nexus dashboard. Just a click away, just the addition of the fabric, and you are done with the configuration. Now just one click, that is deploy all, and you will be able to see that the deployment has been started. Okay, so it is going to deploy all the 483 commands. Depending upon the switch, physical or virtual, it is going to take little bit of the time, let's say 2 to 5 minutes, not more than that. You can see almost 3 to 4 commands are being executed, and likewise it is going to execute all the 483 commands. Okay, so this is what you have for your Nexus dashboard fabric controller deployment. Okay, soon it will reach to 100%, and likewise, we are going to have the VXLAN deployment. Likewise, we are going to have the VXLAN multi-site deployment along with the VPC. So multiple types of fabric that we can create. And this is what the beauty is for the product. Okay. So with that, now let's end for this day. Again, kindly enroll into my batches for your CCIE data center journey if you are looking forward to these particular technologies. Thank you for joining.